Hi, this is Warren Carr of the Blind Android Users Podcast. For episode App of the Week, I'm demonstrating a feature found in the DuckDuckGo browser called App Tracking Protection. For today's demonstration, I'll be utilizing my Pixel 7 Pro with Android 13, QPR1, and TalkBack 13.0. For speech services, I am utilizing the Google Speech Services. I am on my home screen and navigating my way now to the app browser where my DuckDuckGo is located.
Folder, browsers, 4 or more items.
I will tap here to activate my browser folder.
Chrome.
I'll now put my finger down and tap on DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
Here is
Wise.
DuckDuckGo.
Motion detected on backyard by small get at 12.
Here is my DuckDuckGo, and by the way, I have reset the DuckDuckGo, so we're starting afresh. I'll tap here to activate the browser.
Allow DuckDuckGo to send you notifications. Allow button.
For the classic Android 13 feature, tapping on the app asks as to whether or not I'm going to allow it to send me notifications. In other words, if I were downloading something with the DuckDuckGo browser, when the download is completed, it will show up in a notification in my notification shade. For now, though, I'm going to say no, don't allow.
Don't allow button.
I'll tap here.
DuckDuckGo. The internet can be kinda creepy. Not to worry, searching and browsing privately is easier than you think.
That's the message we hear. And below that we hear,
Let's do it button.
let's do it. I'll tap here to activate.
DuckDuckGo. Search or type URL, edit box. Showing English US QWERTY.
Upon tapping on Let's Do It, we're now in the main UI of the app, and automatically the keyboard pops up and we are in the edit field ready for an address that we would like to go to. For now, though, I'm going to hit my back gesture to go back, close the keyboard, and give you a tour of the main UI.
Keyboard hidden.
I am now in the main UI of the app. Near the top, there's an edit field. And to the right of that edit field are 3 buttons. Here's what I'm talking about.
Search or type URL, edit box.
Here's that edit box, and to the right of that, we have a button that says
Browser menu.
Browser menu, and to the right of that, we hear
1.
1, meaning there's only one open tab. And to the right of that, near the top right corner, we hear another
Browser menu.
Browser menu. Now, the question is, what are the differences between the browser menu that is found to the right of the edit field and the one that we're sitting on here right at the top right corner? Here are the differences. I'll navigate my way to the one found to the right of the edit field and tap on it and talk about it, and then we'll come back and tap on the one found near the top right corner of the phone.
Browser menu.
Here's that browser menu. Let's tap on it.
Clear all tabs and data. Personal data can build up in your browser. Yuck. Use the fire button to burn it all away. Give it. Personal data can build up in your browser. Yuck. Use the fire button to burn it all away. Give it a try now. Down finger.
So toward the bottom of the phone, we have a dialog that pops up and talks about how things can build up in the browser, and we can clear it here. And basically, we could clear that whether they are tabs or whatever. And so toward the bottom, we have
Clear all tabs and data.
Clear all tab and data. And below that, we have the cancel button.
Cancel.
I'm going to tap on the cancel for now because we don't have anything built up, and so there's no need to clear anything. I'll tap here to cancel.
DuckDuckGo. Browser menu.
Now, let's navigate our way to that browser menu that is found near the top right corner.
Browser menu.
I'll tap here.
Pop-up window. Back button disabled.
Tapping on that browser menu, In the pop-up, the first thing we heard is back. Moving my finger down, we hear the following.
Forward button disabled.
There's forward, and so the back and forward is like if I were navigating in a web page and I want to go back, I could go back by tapping the back there that has been disabled, or go forward, and which also has been disabled because I haven't navigated to any web pages. Below that, we've got
Refresh button disabled.
refresh is also disabled. Next, we've got
Bookmarks.
bookmarks. If you have any bookmarks, this is where you go in to manage those bookmarks. Next,
Downloads.
downloads. Next,
Settings.
settings. And that's the last item. Now in the settings is the one that is most important. So I'm going to tap here to activate that settings.
Settings. Navigate up button.
Tapping on settings, we're placed on the top button there on the top left that says navigate the top. I'll now move my finger downward and let's look at the items that I found here before we get to the app tracking protection, the feature that we're going to be looking at.
Set as default browser.
We have set as default browser. I keep going.
Switch off.
And there's a switch off button to the right of that.
Home screen widget.
There's a home screen widget.
Appearance.
Appearance, meaning I could choose whether dark, light, or whatever theme it is that I want.
Theme light.
And right now the theme is white.
App icon.
And then there's an app icon.
Fire button animation Inferno.
Fire button animation, that is, it's a visual thing. Right now it's an inferno, so you'll see like snow pouring out or whatever, that kind of an inferno. Let's go down.
Accessibility.
Accessibility, and usually this has to do with things like fonts and stuff like that. Next.
Privacy.
Privacy, you could tap here and manage privacy settings and things like that.
Global Privacy Control GPC enabled.
Keep going.
Manage cookie pop-ups disabled.
Manage cookie pop-ups disabled. I haven't done anything. Next.
Unprotected sites.
Unprotected sites is next. Let's keep going.
Fireproof sites.
Fireproof sites. Next.
Automatically clear. None.
Automatically clear. None. You can go in here and choose to whether it should automatically clear out when you exit the browser and things like that. Next.
Clear on. App exit only. Disabled.
It's disabled because right now it's none. I haven't chosen anything. Next.
Customize.
I could tap on the customize.
Site permissions.
We have site permissions.
Autocomplete suggestions.
And we also have these autocomplete suggestions, meaning if you start typing a web address, it should autocomplete it for you. Next.
Switch on.
And it has a switch to the right of that, and by default it's turned on, meaning autocomplete is turned on. You could turn it off if you don't want it to autocomplete your web addresses.
Open links in apps. Ask every time.
Open links in apps. In other words, if I'm navigating with the DuckDuckGo and I tap on the link, would it open up automatically in the DuckDuckGo browser? Or by default, it says ask. In other words, it's going to say you want to open it with DuckDuckGo, or you would rather have some other app open that link that you just tapped on. Next.
More from DuckDuckGo.
More from DuckDuckGo. Next.
DuckDuckGo desktop app. Browse privately with our app for Mac.
Let's keep going.
Email protection. Block email trackers and hide your address.
Keep going.
App tracking protection. Block app trackers on your device.
App tracking protection, and that's the feature we're going to be talking about. However, let's finish with the rest of the items here, then we'll come back and talk about the app tracking protection.
About.
We hear about
DuckDuckGo.
then about DuckDuckGo,
Privacy policy.
privacy policy,
Version.
version,
5.144.0, 5144000. Share feedback.
share, feedback, and that's the last item. Now, though, let's go back to that app tracking protection. And what do we mean by app tracking protection? So, what is app tracking protection? So, in other words, what this is talking about is that most apps out there would have a little bit of a tracker that tries to track you, or have tracking services from third-party companies that are built into that app to track your movement and things like that, and where you go and what you do. And so what this app tracking protection does is prevent such apps from tracking you. And the good thing is that if you have an app, for example, that you haven't paid for, if it's an app that has ads in it, this app protection would actually block out those ads. So you're not going to see those apps, even though you haven't paid for it. It doesn't mean that you're going to have the features of the paid features, but at least you're not going to be bombarded by ads. So in a sense, it makes things easier for you because those ads are not going to be in the way, and that's because of the app tracking protection. Now let's go ahead and tap on that app tracking protection and see what it says.
App tracking protection. Block app trackers on your device.
There we go. Now let's go ahead and tap here.
DuckDuckGo. Onboarding close. Button. Detected. Text. Setting.
I'll put my finger down.
One easy step for better app privacy. We found that over 96% of popular free apps allow other companies to track your personal information, even when you're sleeping. See which apps we catch letting other companies track you and take back control.
That's exactly what I was talking about. So third-party companies have access to some of these apps, and therefore they can track you. So this is part of what it does, and it's telling us about it. And so there are a total of 3 pages that talk about what this app does. There's a next at the bottom, or you can just swipe from right to left to move to the second page. I'll tap on the next found toward the bottom.
Continue. Button.
Or rather, continue.
Page 2 of 3.
Here's page 2. I'll put my finger down.
App tracking protection detects and blocks app trackers from other companies, like when Facebook attempts to track you in a health app. It's free, and you can enjoy your apps as you normally would. Working in the background, it helps protect you night and day. Continue. Button.
And then there's a continue at the bottom.
Page 3 of 3.
This is the last page, and putting my finger down, we hear
App tracking protection is not a VPN. However, your device will recognize it as one. This is because it uses a local VPN connection to work. App tracking protection is different. It never routes app data through an external server. Learn more.
So in other words, what it's saying is that when we set this up, your phone is going to see it as a VPN, but in reality, it is not a VPN. All it wants to do is to hold those guys back out there so they're not invading us with trackers and all of that. And so at the bottom, we got
Enable app tracking protection button.
And we got Enable app tracking protection. We'll tap here to enable that.
App tracking protection. Navigate up button. Got it.
And putting my finger down toward the bottom.
Good news. App tracking protection is now enabled. Thumbs up. I'll show you a real-time list of apps on your device that I catch trying to track you.
All right, and below that is got it.
Got it button.
Tap here.
App tracking protection. Navigate up button.
All right, I'm going to put my finger near the top.
This feature is in beta. Having issues with an app? Help us improve.
So in other words, the app tracking protection is still in beta. I remember that I had posted about this earlier on our email forum when it was an invite only, but now it's a public beta, meaning everyone that downloads the DuckDuckGo browser can go into the setting of the app and enable this feature. I'll move my finger down.
Block tracking attempts will appear here in list.
So it tells me that the tracking attempts will be shown here.
340 of your apps are protected from hidden trackers we find trying to access your personal info.
We're told that 340 of my apps have been set to where they cannot track me,
13 of your apps have protection disabled.
and 13 of them are disabled. In other words, things like the Google Play services and the core apps that make your phone work will be excluded from this app tracking protection.
About, out of list.
All right.
What are app trackers?
And what are app trackers?
App tracking protection FAQ.
Those are the FAQs.
Manage.
We have manage,
Having issues with an app.
or you're having an issue with an app.
View apps.
View apps. That is, you can go in here, for example, because by default, most of your apps are checked to be protected. Now, if you're having a problem with an app to where when you launch it and it's not working right, you can go in here and exclude such an app from being protected.
Disable and delete data.
And the last item here is disable and delete the data. Let's go into manage apps though, so you'll see what I'm talking about.
View apps.
View apps, I tap.
My apps. Navigate up, button.
Now here I am in the list of my apps and I'm going to put my finger down near the top.
Hashtag notepad, in list.
There's Notepad, and to the right of each of them
Message, Brandon.
is a check mark, meaning that is being protected.
Switch, on.
Move my finger down.
At voice floating button.
To the right of that,
Switch, on.
and I'm going to scroll down.
Bible. Switch, on. Showing
And so
items 61 to
you
7.
got the drift. To the right of each of these apps is a check mark or an on-off switch. By default, is turned on. So if you're having a problem with one of these apps where it's not working right, then you could uncheck it. When you uncheck it, however, it will ask you to let them know what the problem is. And that's how the app tracking protection works on the DuckDuckGo browser. Thanks for listening.